A diverse political opinion following the passing away of Anyang, a firebrand opposition leader who is the president and founder of Manidem political party. He died while in detention following the post-electoral debacle, which is still hovering around in some quarters, in some areas, some regions, and across some parts of the nation. Anyang of Manidem political party backed Professor Maurice Kamto and gave him a ticket for his party. As the debacle started when Elections Cameroon disqualified Professor Maurice Kamto over allegation of plurality, which saw the arrival of Dieudonné Yebga, who also claimed to be the legitimate person to have given the authorization or the ticket for Manidem to a presidential candidate. The decision did not sit in well with Anyang and Professor Maurice Kamto. They then took it to the Constitutional Council, which it is the procedure that must be followed, which was the pre-electoral conflict or the pre-electoral resolution. At that level, at the Constitutional Council, after having looked at the fact, examined the facts, they decided to throw away the candidacy of Professor Maurice Kamto over the same decision of plurality, and that Manidem party seemed to be fragmented, that they should go and put their house in order for them to come back next election, because the constitution says there cannot be plurality. At the time, Dieudonné Yebga also deposited his candidacy as the person to represent Manidem party for the 2025 October presidential election. As time will have it, the candidacy of Professor Kamto was thrown out, and Manidem party decided to go and reorganize itself. Now, Dieudonné Yebga and Anyang went back to their respective political calculation. In essence, Dieudonné Yebga decided now that he will continue to see how he is restored as the president of Manidem party, whereas Anyang, on the other hand, reaffirmed his position as the president of Manidem party and the legitimate person to be given or to have the voice of Manidem party with its headquarters in Accra. He decided then that he would back Issa Chiroma Bakari, former Minister of Communication and Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, this time under the banner of Union pour le Changement, known as Union for Change. The Union for Change, with Mr. Njuken Chamani, endorsed Issa Chiroma Bakari's party as the people's candidate in Yaoundé. When that was done, they started their campaign backing Issa Chiroma Bakari's party. As the election came, and after the election, they made a declaration. According to their declaration, which was in the evening after the just ended poll, when the poll had closed and the respective polling units were counting their results, they now declared that Issa Chiroma Bakari, based on their tally, had won the election. This decision did not sit well with the government of Cameroon, because the constitutional provision, there is a provision that stipulates that only the Constitutional Council has the legitimacy to officially declare who wins the election. There is also Article 133, if I'm not mistaken, that also stipulates that all the polling unit results must be declared per the polling unit, such that observers and political parties should have their result in real time while waiting for the Constitutional Council to proclaim the result. With all this debacle, several communiques were then released by the Union for Change, signed by Mr. Njuken Chamani and Anyang. As time went on, the government of Cameroon became impatient and said they have valid reason and evidence to show that these individuals were actually inciting violence and planning insurrection. Then there was an arrest that followed suit. This arrest, many have described it as arbitrary. The state has maintained that it was legal. Many say that these people ought to have been given convocation. The state, on the other hand, says that they had information about insurrection and search, and a lot of homes were searched and people were arrested and that is why they were arrested. If you listen to the Minister of Territorial Administration in an interview recently granted in a sister's television that was on Saturday, Minister Paul Atanganji was clear in what he described as insurrection, and also what he also described as incitement of violence. He said that the state arrested Mr. Anisene Kane on a legal ground on what he described as insurrection. According to Minister Paul Atanganji, though these allegations the court has not officially proven, he said that these individuals, or Mr. Anisene Kane and Juken Chamani, actually had given drugs to some persons to insurrect. That was the statement he used, and he said no one is above the law and that the law had to take its course. And in all of this, therefore, Anisene Kane died in custody, and the Minister of Territorial Administration in that interview further concluded and that he was under detention with competent medical authority from the military and also the gendarmerie, who had competent doctors that were looking into his issues. However, the state of Cameroon has announced for a full investigation to see what led to his death, if it was natural causes, maltreated, or otherwise. At the same time, European Union, Canadian High Commission, and several international organizations and some nations have called for an independent investigation to ascertain the cause of his death. But despite and without any situation on the ground, many are asking the question that will this investigation bring back Mr. Anisene Kane? Because the Minister of Territorial Administration also made it clear that being sick is not a visa to actually abrogate or actually violate the law, that the law will take its cost. As it stands now, Mr. Anisene Kane is dead and mourners are mourning him. Some have described him as hero and Matthias of the nation. But to Minister Paul Atanganji, Mr. Anisene Kane is no hero and is no Matthias, and the law need to take its course. This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Javis. You are welcome to this program, House of Commons, where we bring to you issues that matters. And in Meganga, which is around the Gaundiri route that was blocked, Cameroon security forces overnight actually restored the passing of the road. Vehicles were removed forcefully using caterpillars and other equipment from the military to actually remove these vehicles. And we can see with the videos which are already on different social media platforms how some of the vehicles were actually cleared away and the road is now passable. And the governor of that area had actually called the truck drivers to see reasons why they should open the road. Over the night yesterday, gunshots were heard in the process of clearing as there was tension in the air. The situation is not yet clear as to if some persons were actually injured or have life-threatening injury, and what will be the state of affairs within the side of the truck drivers and the state if actually peace was restored or force was restored and dialogue is yet to take place again or to continue. We will also bring you more detail as to some happenings across the nation. But first, we shall be looking today's topic. We are looking at the dreaded Article 66 of our Constitution, which many are asking the question that how long will it take for this Article 66 to be implemented in Cameroon. Article 66 talk about the declaration of assets, and that if state officials cannot simply respect Article 66 or the text of implementation cannot be signed by the head of state, which will enable Cameroonians to be able to fight against corruption, what then will be the situation? That will be our main topic for today, so that you should know. And we shall also look at the second topic, which is Barrister Anyang Lewis actually sued President Paul Biya, asking that President Paul Biya should immediately sign the text of implementation of Article 66. We shall be discussing those two topics. You shall also have the time to participate, but first, let us look at what is trending, what is making news, or what makes news within the weekend in Cameroon. To begin, we start with Anyang Ekane before moving to Meganga, and also before moving to some of the happenings in the northwest region, which we also experienced that over 9 persons were killed in Nwafo village in Bafut. That was on the 5th of December evening, breaking into Saturday. These 9 individuals were killed, and those who actually carried out this act have been described as men dressed in uniform attire carrying guns. The question is, there have been incidents where you see both sides. This other side in civilian attire, this other side in military attire. Who then takes responsibility? Only an investigation can let us know. In the studio, while waiting for some of our panelists, we wait for that of Mr. Prizo Lume, who is a member of Sesh Espoir Matumba's party, Pius, who is supposed to join us here, and also one of our panelists who is yet to join us. We are here with Barrister Anyang Lewis, who is all the way from the southwest region of Cameroon. He is also a president and founder of a political party that seek to go in for the municipal and legislative election come 2026. Barrister Lewis, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Javis. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm always delighted to be present on this station, this platform, House of Commons. It's a very didactic program, and I'm very pleased to be present to talk about this sensitive issue, corruption. We know that Cameroon is really down the drain because of corruption. Corruption has almost paralyzed the republic. But however, we still have hope that the country will be better and the government and the administration will do what is needed to fight this cankerworm that is plaguing the country. Good afternoon to televiewers. Thank you for getting time to watch this program. Stay tuned as the program unfolds.
Yeah, we'll begin the program while waiting on some of our panelists to come. We cannot wait for that long till we have to continue the program. Let us have your reaction of Anyang Ekane. When you heard that he died, what came to your mind?
You see, Mr. Javis, one problem in Cameroon is that there is the absence of the respect for the rule of law. Because in anything we do in society, the rule of law should be respected. The first question is, how come President Anyang Ekane was detained? What crime did he commit? Because we all know that there is freedom of speech, which is guaranteed by the Constitution of Cameroon. We had the presidential election. It unfolded well. He made his pronunciations, which falls under the umbrella of freedom of speech. But unfortunately, he was arrested and detained. To this day, we don't know the reasons that were given. They say insurrection.
Yes, according to what Atanganji Paul said yesterday.
Can you really say somebody is planning to commit insurrection when you don't see him with firearms?
An incitement of violence, and that they are giving drugs to youth.
Giving drugs to youth, to which youth? You don't just make statements in the air like that. And let's not forget, the Criminal Procedure Code makes it very clear. Suspects and accused persons are presumed innocent until found guilty by a competent court of law. Is the Ministry of Territorial Administration the competent court of law? That's the question. But however, unfortunately, we learned of his passing away. He died in a very troubling circumstances. And I want to use this opportunity to reiterate the fact that prisoners also have rights. We have the minimum prison rules, which is also known as the United Nations Nelson Mandela Principles, which governs the rights of prisoners. We have the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. We have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. And we have our own constitution. Under these laws, prisoners have their rights, especially right to health facilities, freedom from torture. If you torture a prisoner, it's a crime. If a prisoner is detained, he is sick, he has the right to be treated. He has the right to access adequate medical care. From the case of President Anyang Ekane, it's very clear that the Cameroon government did not provide him with adequate access to health care, and that's why he died. However, it's really unfortunate. Let me use this opportunity to send my condolences to his family in particular and the Mandem party in general. what has happened has happened. I want to also use this opportunity to appeal to the family of President Aniset Ekane in particular, and the Maniden Party in general, that they should initiate a criminal action against the state of Cameroon, because President Aniset did not die normally. He died because he was deprived of medical care.
Yeah, but the state says, Atangaji Post says yesterday that the state arrested him on grounds of insurrection, and that even at that there were competent medical persons within the judiciary and within the military that actually were taking care of him.
We can only know that if the state, they provide Cameroonians with a clear report, independent inquiry report that shows the reason for his death. Why did he die? Has the government provided us with a report? So let me please use this opportunity to appeal to the government to conduct an independent, impartial and transparent inquiry into the death of President Aniset Ekane. Why did he die? What were the circumstances surrounding his death? And if actually uniform officers, security officers, the state itself did not provide him with adequate medical care, because we all know that he had health issues, but we don't know whether he was given adequate medical care.
There were allegations that his respirator was taken away and that he needed the respirator. These allegations that will fall under the investigation you are talking about.
Exactly. That's why I appeal to his family to initiate a criminal action against the state. And let me also insist that they should initiate the action. We know how Cameroon is. The judiciary is not reliable. But the family and the party should also know that we have the African Court on Human and People's Rights. They can also go there, but they should start at the level of the country so that they will exhaust the local remedies before they proceed to the Human Rights Court at the international level. At the end of the day, justice should be done. May the soul of President Aniset Ekane rest in peace.
Now, when you hear yesterday, I know this is not our main topic, but let's just briefly touch it. When you hear yesterday from the accept of Minister Paul Atangaji, he stated clearly that being sick is not an excuse to commit crime, and that Cameroon is a state of law. Yes. But when you say Cameroon, that laws seemingly are not too respected.
Oh, when he says that Cameroon is a state of law, the state first of all should show Cameroonians that they respect the rule of law. In the Aniset Ekane's case, the state has not showed Cameroonians that they respect the rule of law. In that particular case, why was he arrested, by the way? That's the question mark. Circumstances surrounding his death in a serious country. An inquiry will have been conducted already, and we will know the circumstances surrounding his death and what really actually happened. To this day, do we know it? We don't know.
You are a legal mind, and when you hear the Minister of Territorial Administration citing that they gave drugs to youth and that huge sums of drug was found, and he said drugs is illegal in Cameroon, and we have not heard about the charges being brought. It's being brought. Is it not actually interfering in the investigation?
That's where there's a serious problem. He gave drugs to, they gave drugs to youth. Did he say that President Kane gave drugs to youth? Which youth? You don't just say youth. You must call names. You must identify individuals. So those are just baseless accusations, which has no place within the legal system.
Now, so let's look at the circumstances under his arrest. There's what called the fragile delisoto, and there's also normal situation. In this case, that Ekane was arrested. Was it? How do you describe the legal procedures? Was it respected? Or
no, it was arbitrary. Everything surrounding the arrest was illegal. You mentioned drugs. They mentioned drugs. Did they apprehend him with drugs? If they caught him with drugs, that would have been flagrante delicto, and it would have had the legal basis. But that was not the case. That was not the case. He is a president. He was a president of a national political party who participated in the presidential elections legally. Whatever he did it legally. Why was he arrested?
That the minister said because they were supposed to arrest him the first day that he and Juken Chamani made the proclamation that Issa Churma won the election. According to Mr. Paul Latangan, he said the voting ended at 6 p.m. at 8 p.m. And the Senate with Mr. Juken Chairman under Union for Change signed a communique that Issa Chiroma had won the election. But there are some people argue that Anyang was operating under Article, I think it's 133, that gives the polling unit result must be declared, and that was what probably Anyang was basing their mind, that if you had the polling unit result are declared according to I think it's 113, therefore it means that he's within his place. But the minister is saying that he was not supposed to declare the result.
Irrespective of all that, Cameroonians should know that the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, it overrides even our constitution, because our constitution makes it very clear that international conventions that are duly ratified in Cameroon shall override local laws. And we know that the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights makes provision for freedom of speech. After an election, individuals, they have the right to say that this person won, this person did not win. But we all know that legally and constitutionally, it's the Constitutional Council that has the power to say that this person won, and that will stand. Irrespective of that, we as citizens, we have the right to express our views. That's what we call freedom of speech. So if an individual says that this person won, why should you go and arrest that person? I did not see any reason. So it's very okay for Cameroonians to express their will, to express their right to freedom of speech and say whatever they want to say. But they should not use that as a pretext to commit crime. Because if you say that, if you express your wish, then you proceed to commit a crime, that one now is illegal. They can bring you before the law. But in the case of President Anyang, he was just expressing his mind. So I don't see any crime that he committed. I can say it clearly that he did not commit any crime. He did not commit any crime. And by the way, if the Minister of Territorial Administration is making pronouncement, it's like the Minister of Territorial Administration in Cameroon is now the Attorney General. Is now a state council, Minister of Justice. We have the Minister of Justice in this country.
Because when this arrest occurred, we did not see a press conference to brief the situation under which the arrest has been done.
That is another serious problem that we have in the judiciary in Cameroon. We have a sleeping Minister of Justice. We have a sleeping Attorney General. They don't play their role publicly for Cameroonians to see. Whenever there is a legal issue, we need the legal authorities to come forward.
Because in other countries, when arrests like that is carried out, there is a press conference by the Attorney General to come and say so arrest was done. They ask questions, the press asks questions, and they explain to the public the circumstances under for everything.
That's how it's supposed to be. We have state councils, we have the Procureur General, we have the Minister of Justice, Attorney General before the Supreme Court. They should play their role, not the Minister of Territorial Administration. Let's not forget, under the principle of separation of powers, when it concerns the judiciary, it's supposed to be handled only by the judiciary arm, not the administrative arm. The administrative arm of government, which falls under the executive arm, has nothing to do with the judiciary. And that's why you see there is a saying in Cameroon that the executive arm overpowers the judiciary. And that's the way the Minister of Territorial Administration is behaving. It goes first to answer that question that yes, in Cameroon, the executive arm overpowers the judiciary, because we don't see the key judicial actors acting when they are supposed to be acting, when the country is facing serious legal issue. So what are they actually doing? So I use this opportunity to appeal to the judiciary stakeholders to play their role, because when the legal minds are talking, when the State Council is talking, the Minister of Justice is talking, they understand the legal concepts. They understand national and international human rights law, and they understand how best to do investigations, talk about legal issues to Cameroonians, for Cameroonians to understand. That's not the role of the Minister of Territorial Administration.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's just crown this Anyang topic. What would be your advice to the state of Cameroon regarding this issue? Because Juken Chairman is also among those, is also within the line of Anyang. They were the two arrested in the same allegations, and he was transferred from Set now to Kundengi, where he's now in Kundengi.
It's really unfortunate what is happening to them, but what I would say personally, and also as the president of a national political party, being in the opposition in Cameroon is not easy, because the political playing field is not level for everyone. The political playing field favors the CPD. You see what President Anyang has gone through. what Mr. Jokam Chamini is going through is really horrible. It's not good. I personally can only appeal to the government to respect the rule of law, to respect their human rights, and make sure that they go through a fair and impartial judicial process. And also, justice should not be delayed. It's been over a month that they were arrested. So I think they should be taken to court, they should be tried, and we should have the verdict as soon as possible.
Okay, now let's go to Meganga. There was an incident within the week, and that was the truck drivers blocking the route in Meganga, which is the main access to Gaunde Garabulai road, citing the fact that the too many control checkpoints and the extortion from the drivers, the extortion which is being meted by the forces of law and order along the road. And their cry was that several of the checkpoints be removed, and that they should have guarantee that these checkpoints will not come again, and the forces of law and order that will be maintained in some critical checkpoints should not be permitted to collect money from the truck drivers. They negotiated with the DO, it failed. They negotiated with the governor, the guarantee that they wanted was not given, and yesterday tension moved high. Their trucks were now removed forcefully, which also experienced shots were heard in that part. And this morning we have seen that some of the trucks have been damaged, removed forcefully. What is your reaction as a political
you see, what
party leader?
That incident just portrays the fact that we lack good governance in Cameroon. That corridor is an international corridor leading Cameroon to neighboring countries, which is supposed to be giving special care. You don't treat visitors in your house poorly. You don't. Those truck drivers, they are taking goods to neighboring countries. And you see the number of police checkpoints. Why the number of police checkpoints? We need our police officers to be on the streets protecting citizens, not on the highways. And the level of corruption at these checkpoints, you cannot believe it. You know, the report of the Anti-Corruption Commission has always shown that the police force is highly corrupt. And we can only appeal to the government, especially to the police force. They should try to eradicate corruption and make sure they do only their job. Check the books, do what they are supposed to do, and let the trucks go through. And also, one very key issue that's affecting that road, you know, the level of the bad road. The road is really bad.
The bad road.
The road is really bad.
It was the same road that Minister of Territorial Administration drove some time ago and said he was going to write a special report to the President of the Republic about the road. We are still waiting for actions from the special report.
Exactly. And that road fetches a lot of money because those truck drivers, they pay a lot of money to the state treasury. So the road should be tarred so that when truck drivers, they are carrying their goods, goods should move fluently and goods will not destroy and all that. They will not have obstacles. Because when you see the reaction of the truck drivers, it's part of the frustration that they are having. It's not just related to one thing. It's a series of actions. So I can only appeal to the government to try to eradicate corruption at the level of the police checkpoints, make sure that the road is tarred, and there should be good governance in the administration of truck drivers' relations in Cameroon.
Okay, now we end this, what is trending, taking you to the northwest region of Cameroon, where there have been increased attacks in the northwest region of Cameroon, where the latest is in Nyafo village, where in Bafut, where you had 9 people killed. 4, according to unconfirmed information, that the act was carried out by men dressed in uniform attire. But before then, you had 2 gendarme officers killed. That was on Thursday, and you have been having other gendarme officers killed within that same trend. This is an area that voted overwhelmingly based on the official result from Constitutional Council, voted overwhelmingly for President Paul Biya. Why are we still experiencing this kind of attacks?
Well, you see, it boils down to the Anglophone problem. That one is very clear. We need the Anglophone crisis to be stopped. Without the Anglophone crisis, we will not be having all these issues. And government should know that the #1 duty of the government is to provide peace, security, and stability to its citizens. Because without peace, security, and stability, even the government, the state, will not be able to function normally. That one is very important. And the government and the security forces should know, they should have this mentality that the insecurity of one Cameroonian anywhere in Cameroon is the insecurity of all Cameroonians. Because when government and the security forces, they have the mentality that only some people are affected, at least majority of the people are not affected, it's a serious problem, which increases the rate at which we are seeing the crisis. So government should harness its forces and make sure that we have security everywhere in the country. The crisis that we are facing in the Anglophone regions, in the northern regions, should be handled effectively, swiftly, and quickly, so that Cameroonians can have peace. It's only through peace that a country can develop. And any government that does not provide peace to its citizens has a problem. The government cannot say it's succeeding when a portion of its people are not witnessing peace. So I can only appeal to the government to see that they provide peace and security.
Thank you very much. Take on this message. Say, dear House of Commons, it is clear that the arrest of Anyang Ekane and co. is illegal, and the poor treatment to his death. The state of Cameroon owes an explanation and justification to Cameroonians why they were arrested and why Anyang died. I expected people linked to that illegal arrest and poor treatment to have been arrested by now. We are waiting for President Biya to speak on this matter. Anyang Jacob writing from Bambenda. This other right, it says, good afternoon, House of Commons. It is a very interesting discussion you guys are having there. My only concern is that why was Mr. Anyang Ekane arrested? In Nigeria, when arrest like that is carried out, you will see the Minister of Justice will come and grant a press conference and explain detailedly, and reporters will ask questions, and there will be transparency. Mr. Javis, there was an arrest carried out in the United States of America, and the Attorney General of that area in New York, to be more precise, when the New York mayor was indicted, the Attorney General came out and explained the charges under which that person was arrested and indicted. But in Cameroon, you only hear about arrest and you don't have facts about what was the crime the person committed. We must grow above this. This is Emmanuel writing from Yaoundé. This other right, he says, I want to thank the barrister Lewis for what he is saying. I believe that our justice system is sleeping because they have been allowed to yeah, message is gotten. This other right, he says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. I have a question to ask, that is the minister of Justice or the Attorney General? Because one thing is clear, since Anyang Ekane was arrested, we have not heard anything from the Attorney General of the Republic. Or are they afraid to come and allow journalists to ask them questions? If they are afraid, can they not just do a question and answer so that we write and they reply? Not if they are afraid to talk. Because till now, we still don't know what Anyang Ekane did, except for Minister Paul Atanganji outing, which he stated what he stated. But there's still a lot that needs to be done. Mr. Javis, this country, if you get your way to Japa, please, while you are writing or sending us your message, be a bit Republicans. When I mean Republicans, go to the facts and don't actually insult people. Be civil. If you want that, I should read your message. This other one, right, it says Minister Paul Atanganji has said his own, but the question should be that, was Anyang Ekane wrong in his declaration? Why up to now we have not had the full certification of the result, department by department, published openly by Elecam after the Constitutional Council declared the result? Why is it that CPDM itself also had not published their own report? Because they said they had representatives across the polling station. Anyway, Mr. Javis, one thing is clear, that we all will face the truth one day. Okay. Happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. I love the discussion. We are still awaiting some of our panelists who had actually agreed that they were to be part of the program. One called me this morning that he was going to come a bit late. The other said he's going to come. So we are still waiting them. And we are moving straight away to the second part of our discussion. And if you want to participate in the second part of our discussion, you should please call us in the second part. No, come back to the first topic, please. The second part of the discussion is the first topic. We're still looking at what was trending. We are now looking at Article 66 of the Cameroon's constitution. Article 60 talk about the declaration of assets. Barrister Lewis, I want to ask this. Can we fight corruption without the implementation, without the text of implementation of Article 66?
That's what is still pending. In 1996, the 1996 Constitution makes it clear that some state officials must declare their assets and property before and at the end of their tenure in office. The officials who are supposed to declare their assets, you have the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, members of Parliament, senators, officials holding elected offices like mayors, regional councillors, municipal councillors. They also have managers of state corporations and key tax officials. In fact, let me just summarize it. Key government stakeholders are supposed to declare their assets at the beginning and the end, and at the end of their tenure in office. But since 1996, that provision, Article 66 of the Constitution, has not been implemented. Why? Why hasn't it been implemented? We see that in Cameroon, the first obstacle to corruption is a lack of the political will. We lack that political will in Cameroon to fight against corruption. And in any country, the number one person who should show example when it comes to the fight against corruption should be the president, should be the head of state, because he is the one to implement Article 66 of the Constitution. But ever since the 1996 Constitution came into force, he has given a blind eye to that provision, despite the alarming rate of corruption in Cameroon. The question now is, why is it that the President of the Republic, in particular, and the government in general, they don't want to implement Article 66 of the Constitution? The answer is very simple. They don't want to fight. They are not willing to fight corruption. They are not willing to fight corruption. Also, another key obstacle when it comes to the fight against corruption in Cameroon is that we have weak institutions to fight against the corruption. You look at the Anti-Corruption Commission. The Anti-Corruption Commission is just like a fact-finding commission.
It's not an independent regulatory body.
It's not independent. They just do their investigations.
An advisory role.
That's it. They do their investigations. At the end of the day, they send it to the presidency. They give advice. They may write 1 or 2 letters to some state corporations, members of government, and all that. But they don't have that power.
Prosecute.
To really fight against corruption. One, they don't have the power to prosecute those who are corrupt or those who are suspected of having been corrupt. They don't have that power. They lack prosecutors, they lack investigators to actually investigate corrupt acts within the country. And you see, one thing I find really wanting is that Mr. Javis, like if you see the head of the Anti-Corruption Commission in Cameroon, he's a man of God. And whether we like it or not, you look at somebody based on his profession. What does a man of God really know how to do? Let's look at the literal meaning of a man of God. Is to pray and conduct services in church. Can he really steer and fight against corruption in the country?
Maybe that's why he was appointed there, because he's a man of God and he cannot be corrupted and he can be firm. Maybe a part of being a man of God, he also have academic qualification that gives him that ability that many want to say, okay, we believe in this person based on his values.
That's true. As a man of God, you incarnate the values.
Yes.
Integrity, honesty, transparency, accountability. But now, do you have the skill, the competence to fight against corruption? That's the question mark. It's just like, let me give a situation. If you have your house, rats are disturbing you in your house, will you take a rabbit to come and fight against the rats? You cannot. You put a cat to fight against the rats. It's very clear like that. So I think at the level of the Anti-Corruption Commission, we need people who have the legal competence to really fight corruption in the country. And our Anti-Corruption Commission needs to be fully independent. Just like the EFCC in Nigeria, which has the right to seal the properties of people who have been suspected of having committed the act of corruption. They have that power. They don't only have the power to seal premises, they initiate criminal proceedings. They go to court directly, they have their prosecutors. They are fully independent, not under the control of any individual. That's what we need in Cameroon. And also, to make the matters worse, Anti-Corruption Commission in Cameroon is only Yaoundé.
They're not national.
They have their office only Yaoundé. Is Cameroon only Yaoundé? You go to the regional capitals, you don't see their offices. Divisional capital headquarters, you don't see it. Sub-divisional headquarters, you don't see their offices. Everything is Yaoundé. So tell me, how will it really fight against corruption from Yaoundé? That's a serious problem that we're having in this country, Mr. Javis.
Okay, I will come back to you. Let me take on some messages. This one says, hello Javis, greetings to you and the barrister. I love this program. But there is one thing I want to tell you, that as far as Cameroon is concerned, we have freedom of speech. So please, when people send their messages, make sure you read them all. Don't skip or ignore to read. Unless you want to tell me that you are like them, who will say there is freedom of speech but don't grant the people the right to eat. There's something that I have to tell you, that in as much as there's freedom of speech, there's also what we call responsibility. Barrister, is it not a lie?
No, that's true.
It's okay. Responsibility.
Also, there's also the offense of defamation.
Yes.
You cannot just talk anyhow. You talk with limits.
So
that's true.
That's why people don't understand. Dear Barrister, how can Cameroonians hold Paul Biya responsible for the failure to implement Article 66 of the Constitution? Can failure to implement this article suggest that he himself is not clean? Thank you, Nkwan Jacob. This is that will be a second topic, because the second topic is the fact that you have sued President Paul Biya for to immediately implement Article 66 of the Constitution. Let me take on this one. It says, hello, I greet you all in the house. I am Elad, writing from Limbe. My brother, I want to say is after Anise Nekane has died in detention, that some people are coming up to say, we never knew he was arrested. They never knew his oxygen dispenser was confiscated. So I really want to ask if some members of this government are really serious in taking this country forward, or they are just there to press Cameroonians. Even if someone is dying, they don't care in what circumstances the person state of life is. Like one honorable from the parliament made a statement that the regime has become more danger to the citizen than a fatal disease of a potential accident in this country. This is coming from an anonymous sender. This one right, it says, Mr. Javis, I'm enjoying your program, but one thing is for sure, this government and the system in which we are has the way it is. 90% of the people who are in jail did not go through any due process, and all of us know the kind of system we are in, and that is why even if I write the system of government here, you are not going to read it, because you know that there is a system in which we are, and you will be trying to keep yourself. What is important is kicking away this government. Kevin writing from Bamenda. This other right, it says, happy Sunday to you guys. We cannot fight corruption when we have not declared assets. People must declare their asset. The only reason why they are afraid to declare their asset is because they know that they will not have the power to steal as they have been stealing. Because when we see their parking lots, you see a lot of cars and you calculate their salaries, even if they are to be given mission allowances and advantages, it will still not be able to buy the cars and the houses that these people have. Mr. Javis, have you been to in an occasion with some of these people? The way at which they spread money and they donate money to churches, one is tempted to ask if they are the treasury in their houses. Okay, this one right. It's a happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. The program is quite interesting. The only challenge I have here is that the government of Cameroon must always ensure that when someone is arrested, the person is given proper medical care, because at that level is still a suspect. Even someone who has been sentenced to death, the person still has the right to medical treatment right before the date of execution. I may be wrong. Maybe you ask the barrister to explain this, because people feel like those in prison have already been condemned to death. That even if you have been condemned to death, I strongly believe that you still have to be given your right to medical care before that execution. Barrister, that message is addressed to you.
No, I explained that already. Prisoners do have their rights.
He was talking that someone has been sentenced to death, that even if the person has been sentenced to death, the person is still has the right to medical treatment till the date of the execution.
Exactly. If someone has been sentenced to death, before that date, the date of the execution, he has the right to the best medical facilities. If he's sick, he has the right to talk to a doctor, for a doctor to attend to him or her. That right is not negotiable. Every prisoner, they have those rights. It's inalienable. A prisoner cannot be in prison and is sick. You deprive him or her of health care because he or she is a prisoner. It's very important. And that's a gross violation of human rights. If it happens, you have the right, the person has the right to sue. Even his family, they have the right to sue. So that one is very clear. Any prisoner has the right to health care.
Now, let us go back to this issue about Article 66. And now, we are seeing that the text of implementation has not been signed.
That's right.
Now, the question now I'm tempted to, I want to ask is that, does this mean that the president has more power than the Constitution? Or how do we understand it that the Constitution states that declared asset, and we are now told that yes, the Constitution has stated that, but there's something also within the Constitution that talk about that the president has the power for the state of the text of implementation. How do we reconcile that?
You see, the thing is that the Constitution from 1996 is already in force. If a Constitution is in force, state institutions and the president, who is at the helm, is supposed to implement the provisions of the Constitution. That one is very clear. But why is it that Article 66, the government doesn't want to implement it? They delayed from 1996 right up to 2006. They passed the law on the declaration of assets and property. But they did not enact the implementing decree of the 2006 law on the declaration of assets and property. Why didn't they do that? It's a serious problem. And if you look at our Constitution, if you look at part 13, more specifically Article 67, transitional provision of the Constitution, it says clearly that the institutions that have been mentioned within the Constitution shall be put in place progressively by the head of state. But Article 66 doesn't fall under that umbrella.
Okay.
Because Article 66, it doesn't talk of the institutions. It just mentions declaration of assets and property. So now, let me list some of the issues that fall under that
text of implementation.
Article 67. Okay. Institutions that are supposed to be put in place progressively. You have the Constitutional Council. That was not done in 1996. It was later that it was put in place. The Court of Impeachment. That has not been done right up to today. It's inside the Constitution. Court of Impeachment is still pending. That one is okay. It's legal because that Article 67 gives the President of the Republic the power to put in place those institutions progressively. Now, you also have the Regional Council. It's another institution which was progressively put in place by the President of the Republic. But now, we should know that Article 66 doesn't fall under that umbrella. It's independent, it's separate from Article 67, which means that Article 66 was supposed to be put in place immediately. However, fast forward now, 2006, the law on the declaration of assets and property has been put in place. The decree of implementation is still pending. That's more than a decade. It's still pending, like 2 decades. Why is it still pending?
We are moving to the 2 decades, yes, because we were 1996 to 2006 is 10 years.
Yes.
We are now entering 2026, which is exactly 20 years. The question is, the person to implement that, is he working on foot?
It's the President of the Republic. I have profound respect for the President of the Republic. Whether we like him or we don't like him, he's our head of state. That one, I must always respect him. Even in my office, his picture is there because he's the head of state. No matter your position as a citizen of any country, always respect the President of the Republic. But when the President doesn't respect the law, doesn't implement the law, it's also my duty to call his attention for him to think towards that area, especially the Constitution. Because in any country, the Constitution is the highest law of the land. If the President of the Republic gives a blind eye to the provision of the Constitution, then imagine the other subsidiary legislations that are not being respected. It's a serious problem. We don't know why the President is delaying to put in place, to respect and implement fully Article 66. And it brings us now to another issue, the level of impunity in Cameroon, the level of impunity within which government authorities, they operate, which is not okay, laissez-faire. The fight against declaration of assets and property is like, I see it like the starting point in the fight against corruption. Because when authorities, especially our state authorities, elected officials, starting with the #1 person, the President of the Republic, declares his assets, at least you can evaluate the President, you evaluate his lifestyle, and maybe later before he leaves office, you can quantify. It's very important. And Article 66 says that they are supposed to declare their assets and property at the beginning of their and at the end of their mandate.
Yes.
Now, President Biya has just obtained another mandate. It's at the beginning. He was supposed to have declared his assets already.
Before inauguration?
No, after inauguration.
Okay.
Yes. He starts to act under the new mandate after inauguration. He was supposed to have declared his assets. Let me please use this opportunity to appeal to President Biya. It's better late than never. It's already late. It has over-delayed. But he can now send a clear message. President Biya can send a clear message to Cameroonians that finally he has decided to fight against corruption and to hit the nail on the head. And let me use this opportunity to mention the fact that you cannot be a president of the country and you want to fight corruption. You don't start it
from
yourself. You start it as the head person. There's this saying in a pidgin that when water the tea for up, ultimately count down. Mobina the tea. So President Biya should know that Cameroonians are expecting him to show them that finally he has decided to fight corruption. And how will he do that? Is by implementing Article 66. And if he goes ahead to implement Article 66, you see that the love that Cameroonians will have for him, it will increase. Because whether we like it or not, for people to really admire and love their leaders, they must first of all see that their leaders are respecting the law.
And accountable.
Yeah, they are accountable to the people. Biya should tell Cameroonians how much he has, the property, material, whatsoever that he has, especially now that he has just obtained a new mandate, because the law says that at the beginning of the mandate. So he should go ahead now, because if he doesn't do it now, let's say 1, 2, 3, after 1 year, it's already over. When will he do it? So that's my appeal to the President of the Republic.
Okay, let me take on some messages before coming back to you. Unfortunately, the other members of panel are still to get here. This my brother, right? He says, hello, Mr. Javis, and happy Sunday to you and the barrister on the panel. It is Louis from Canada. I am a Cameroonian from Bambili, my brother, and all I can tell all Cameroonians is to run for their lives and go to any neighboring country. Because Biya, because Danji to muzzle you to talk, so you don't have to talk. You don't have to talk. You still die. You talk, you die. You don't talk, you still die. Okay, this is coming from. This one says, happy Sunday, Gilberto from Bafusan. Please ask barrister what can be done so that our judiciary can be independent. Opposing the regime is already a crime in this country. How many people are being detained for just trying to ensure that this election was not stolen? What can be done to make sure that our judiciary to be independent?
That question, I think, let me just hit the nail on the head. For any country to have an independent judiciary, it must respect the principle of separation of powers as posited by the great philosopher Montesquieu. For separation of powers to be effective, the judiciary arm of government must be separate from the executive arm of government. In any country, there are three arms of government. You have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm. The judiciary arm should be separate fully, completely from the executive arm. We see that in Cameroon, the executive arm is acting more like the judiciary arm. Like in Cameroon, we know that divisional officers, senior divisional officers, they have what they call administrative detention. Can I imagine that a senior divisional officer or a divisional officer in Cameroon can sit in his office and sign a document for someone to be detained? That's an administrator. Yes, that's an administrator.
And not a procureur.
Not the state council, whereas we have the state council. So when you have failed to separate those arms of government, the judiciary can never be separate. And what is making Cameroon not to be respecting the principle of separation of powers is the key factor that the president of the Republic of Cameroon is the head of the higher judicial council. How can you explain that? That the president of the country will be the head of the higher judicial council. That means all magistrates, state councils, lawyers, everybody that are under the command of the president of the republic. That's not supposed to be. If you look at role model democratic countries, the United States of America, you can never hear that Donald Trump is head of the higher the judiciary in America, Nigeria, even in small countries like Burundi. The judiciary is separate. And let me please use this opportunity to appeal to the president of the republic. That is one of the clarion calls of Cameroonians. He should let go of the higher judicial council. The chief justice of the Republic of Cameroon, who is the president of the Supreme Court, chief justice of the Supreme Court, he's the one who's supposed to be the head of the higher judicial council and not the president of the republic. And that's why you see in Cameroon, magistrates, they know very well that it's difficult for them to be sanctioned, for them to be controlled.
And because they are not appointed by the chief justice.
They are not controlled by the chief justice. It's the presidency of the republic. And if they want to be sanctioned, punished, promoted, or whatsoever, sent on retirement, is by the higher judicial council. And who has to sign? The president of the republic.
Now, before you continue, when last was the higher judicial council meeting held?
Unfortunately, the last session of the higher judicial council was held in the year 2020. You cannot imagine. 5 years ago. And let me use this opportunity to let people know that the higher judicial council manages all the affairs of magistrates. Their postings, young people magistrates from Anyang, their postings determined by the higher judicial council, their advancements determined by the higher judicial council, their promotion, transfers, appointments, retirement, sanction, punishment by the higher judicial council. It's shocking. The Post newspaper wrote it one time that over 800 magistrates, over 800 files, complaints are pending against magistrates waiting for the higher judicial council to determine.
5 years ago, nothing has been done.
How can you explain that? Meaning that in Cameroon now, if a magistrate commits a crime, he cannot be sanctioned until the higher judicial council sits. It's a serious problem. And that's why we want an independent judiciary. I'll even go further to say that just like it's practiced in America, let state councils be elected, not appointed. Because when state councils are elected, we shall have competent people to handle the legal affairs, and the judiciary will have integrity, and the judiciary will be reliable, and we shall have the best state councils.
You're talking about the attorney general of the state be elected.
Yes, that's the best system.
Yeah, because in America, the attorney general of each state is elected, and which they campaign, and you vote them based on their competency
and their work
on the field, and also what they are going to bring as changes within the common man. This one says, "Good afternoon. My take is the problem. My take is the problem of Cameroon is the head. When the head is sick, the whole body suffers. Thus, as long as the head is sick, the whole body will continue to suffer. If there is a politician I greatly respect, is Edi Kawala, who understood that and said unless the head is treated, nothing will change. And she created a movement, Stand Up for Cameroon, to prepare Cameroonians to get involved more in politics which affect their daily lives. The Anglophone crisis is nearly going to 10 years, yet no solution. The Anglophone are greatly ignored. The second, third personality of the country, known from the Anglophone region. The Prime Minister is power that since doesn't have power, since the Secretary General, the Presidency of the Republic, has more powers than the Prime Minister, and also many ministers don't respect the Prime Minister. Sonara, CDC, and major Anglophone resources are being run by those dominated within the French extraction, who transferred the wealth without bringing development in return to the region where the resources are extracted. It is Rodrigue writing from Pretoria, South Africa. This one says, good afternoon to you guys in the studio, and a special shout out to Barrister Anyang Lewis, who was my classmate in UB. I must say I am impressed with the way he is addressing some of the key issues. Cameroon is grappling with some of the key issues that Cameroon is grappling with. This is Barrister Milton Kobe writing from Yaoundé.
Oh, okay.
This other one, right? It says, Mr. Javis, I have seen in this country that there is no matter. I've seen in this country, is that no matter what one does, they arrest you against the law. They detain you against the law. They even torture you and even stop you not to cry. They even stop you not to cry your pain. What kind of country? This is divine writing. Okay, this other one read. It says, your message is gotten. I keep reiterating. If you are sending us your message, please address the issues or the issue. Okay, stop using abusive words. I really, Cameroon is a state of law, and we must also understand that there is a responsibility that goes with freedom. Where your freedom ends, another man's own start or continue, and that's why, in as much as there's freedom of speech, there's accountability that follows suit within the freedom of speech. This one is hi. I think Barrister is actually giving a lot of points there, but unfortunately, Barrister, will they listen? The head of state has been there, and people have been talking. He's not listening. What makes you think that he will listen now? I really wish we were in a functional country where your point will actually be heard, because if you were to be in America, your point would have been taken seriously. Unfortunately, we're in a place where people's opinion doesn't count. If I thought they count, it counts when you are within the system. It only counts when you are with them. If you are not with them, you will speak and speak and speak. The only reward they can give you is arbitrary arrest, detention, and later light how you are planning an insurrection. Unfortunately, that is how we have been. But God will save us one day. They should rule. We have given them. They should rule right up to the time that they can no longer rule again. One thing is for sure, that in the next 20 years, things will not be the way it is, because God's plan for Cameroon will overwrite their plan. It is their time. Let them eat.
Life is 10 by 10.
This other right, it says, wait till Musa no go to again no barrister. How if he don't be saying minister now for territorial administration, the talk way na lawyers them give for talk way na judges give for talk. The team passed me for and he sent a Camero because I hear her minister talk say and he sent a cane with the hospital he treaty her he tell he say he don't be for wrong side of history. May it can be for right side of history. So it means a man must join CPDM on a how. Please, when you are sending us your message, be very straight to the point. Barrister Lewis, Article 66, you pointed out the fact that the head of state has taken a new mandate. That under this new mandate, Article 66 by the constitutional provision is something that has already been implemented. It does not fall under the category of progressive implementation.
Exactly.
Which you have stated. But there have been some people who argue that the text of implementation must come into place before it fully go operational. Under that is on this text of implementation, they are stating that the condition under which you have to declare the asset, the way in which you have to declare the asset has not been spelled out by the head of state. And also there have also been some persons who have also talked about the issue of family law. The family, the constitution of family, the family law which was supposed to be implemented has not also fully been implemented. That there are several issues that have not been implemented, and which means that if these are not implemented, Cameroon can no longer move forward. But how do we understand the fact that for more than 20 or 19 years, going to 20 years, this key issue of declaring asset has never been seen as an urgency? Is somebody hiding something somewhere?
It's very simple. Lack of the political will.
But why they lack?
You see, maybe they just put that provision in the constitution to convince the international community, especially potential donors like IMF, World Bank, United States of America, to to think maybe they're actually fighting corruption in Cameroon. No. Law is theory. We need to see practicals in order to make law to be effective and felt by the population. It's very simple like that. And we have to know that, yes, we need the implementing decree to finally put in place the commission, determine how assets are being declared, and all that. Who is to put in place the commission? Who is to put in place the modalities and the factors surrounding the declaration of assets? It's the president of the republic. But for years, for ages, that has not been done. Look at it now. The president went forth to put in place the special criminal court. The special criminal court, it entertains matters for suspects who are presumed to have embezzled or misappropriated at least 50 million. You put a whole structure like that to entertain matters against, let me just call them, potential grant thieves. So what about civil servants who embezzle, who misappropriate, let me just say between 100,000 and some few millions? That I don't see any special rationale for putting in place that court, because the president will have taken the opportunity to instead put in place the commission wherein the declaration of assets and property will be handled. If the
At least from that level, they will have evidence.
Yes. If the president puts in place that commission and actually implements Article 66, trust me, Mr. Javis, the level of corruption in Cameroon will decrease at least by 30%, because even our mayors, municipal councillors, at the level of the regional councillors, at the level of the ministries, they will have to declare their assets. And you know, when you come before the people and you declare your assets, you are already giving them an estimation of your worth. So even you as a public official, you know that you don't have to be living lavishly or being seen with some extravagant materials or properties. It's like a policy, is like deterrence. It prevents civil servants, elected officials, from engaging in the acts of corruption. Because if now, let's say, before a mayor takes office, he declares that he has 50 million. After 5 years, he has to declare again. So what will he declare? And if you do wrongful declaration,
it's a crime.
It's a serious criminal offense that can land you in jail. So if a mayor or a minister, upon assuming office, says that all his wealth amounts to 50 million, and then at the end of his tenure in office, he declares that he's worth 200 million. There should be a question mark somewhere.
Because his salary is taken into consideration, the allowances are taken into consideration,
everything.
The missions are taken into consideration.
Exactly. And so you see now that corruption, even corruption in the public contract sector at the level of procurement will reduce. Because one thing that is killing Cameroon today, we have many contracts. Government awards contracts to contractors. But do they award those contracts to contractors freely without receiving kickbacks? Question mark. Without receiving kickback, it's a serious issue. So the provision of the declaration of assets, if it's implemented, you will see that it will go a long way to fight against corruption, and it will somehow make the public service to be transparent. And above all, our public officials will be accountable to Cameroonians. Will be accountable to Cameroonians. And let me use this opportunity to mention the fact that, yes, it's good for properties and assets to be declared. One thing that is very important is that assets and properties in any country should be registered under a particular name, especially when it comes to real estate, landed property, automobiles. In fact, properties in general should be registered, and it should be in the system in such a way that if you click somebody's name, you see all the properties.
A digitalized system.
Yes, and that will help in the fight against corruption. Because if they see that you own this, you own that, how did you get it?
There's also this issue about corruption, which is really getting Cameroonians worked out, and they have talked about the digitalization of the system. For example, the land titles. You're surprised that a single land might have 4 authentic land titles, and you don't know how that came into being because there's no digitalized system to actually check that, oh, this land has a title.
That's another very serious problem everywhere in the country. Land certificate comes out today, the next month you see another land certificate over the same land. And we have the same land officials holding the same offices. No discipline, no sanction. But the best way to solve that problem, if we have a digitalized system, but I think the most effective way is to have the satellite management of land system in such a way that, like, there's a device. If you position yourself on any parcel of land, that device will generate the history of that land and the situation of that land. Whether it has a land certificate, whether it has been used as a mortgage, and who owns the land. All those things are very important. That's the only way to cure it. And there's one thing that the Cameroon government has failed in. You see, the African man, the highest thing that the African man owns that can be proud of in the world is land. And I think the best thing government can do is to go extra mile to register all the lands in Cameroon. How many years after independence? We have some
60 years.
Parcel of lands that are not registered. It's not proper. Even national sovereignty is part of national sovereignty, and it's a national security issue. For instance, in Rwanda, all lands in Rwanda are registered. Why can't that happen in Cameroon? Why can't that happen in Cameroon? It will go a long way to bring stability, credibility, and even attract investors who will in turn invest and boom our economy. Everybody needs security of land, because no matter what you do, you must stand on top of land. So that's something that needs priority one effect from the government. It's very important. So that's my appeal to the government. All the lands in Cameroon can be registered. The government should proceed to register all the lands in Cameroon, so that all the lands in Cameroon should have title. Even in the rural areas, it can be done.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Javis. I am enjoying your program and the barrister in the studio as he's educating Cameroonians on key issues. The program has enlightened me a lot. This is Yembe writing from Cambe in Donga Mountain Division. My brother Max from Germany said, please ask barrister if the first daughter of Cameroon should also declare her asset, because the father is very down to earth, and the risks of high expenditure and embezzlement are elsewhere. I am impressed with the action of barrister, but I doubt if Mr. Biya will attend the court to respond to the file. But the endeavor of barrister will push Clement Atangana to work hard again and end up with irreversible. Greetings to the panel.
Let me answer the first question. Yes. Concerning the daughter of the President of the Republic, he doesn't fall under the category of persons who have been listed under Article 66 to declare their assets. So she cannot declare her assets.
So she's under the canopy now of the father who declares the asset.
Yes, it's
so if the daughter is living lavishly, but the question that why Max is trying to ask, why Max is pointing is that it's the same preoccupation that some Cameroonians have.
Okay.
And I've once heard that, okay, that for example, Barrister Lewis is elected president tomorrow, and Barrister Lewis declared that his salary is 1 or 2 million monthly, and he has a property worth, he has a business that generates 5 million monthly plus his mission and everything 10 million a month. And they discovered that Barrister Lewis' daughter, who is not a state employee or doesn't work in any sector, eats at least 10 million a month, and Barrister Lewis has 3 children. What then is the problem? Is there no problem there as far as the declaration asset?
There is a problem there, but you know.
So how do we go about it?
Let's follow the law. The law is the law. Article 66 has listed personalities who are supposed to declare their assets. And let me say, if I am an elected official, I have a duty to declare my assets. But my children, they don't have that duty to declare their assets. However, if my children, or let's say the children of the president or any elected official, they are living large, spending exorbitant sums of money,
more than the asset the parents are declared.
Yes. That now is the responsibility of the police, anti-corruption commission, and money laundering commission, and the relevant state institutions to investigate, to see the source of income and how come she or he is living lavishly. Yes, to be able to know whether the money acquired was acquired through legal means, was acquired through merit, or the money are proceeds or are from illicit sources, or from money laundering sources or illegal sources, but it's out of the scope of Article 66 on the declaration of assets.
Okay, so which means you have answered my question, which means that if someone is living lavishly, the person seemingly doesn't have a job, and or maybe have a job or so, there's room for investigation by the money laundering commission, a commission like at that level,
or the police
to investigate and see whether the source of the income, and if it's proven that the person is not working, the money comes from a source, that source is also investigated.
Yeah,
and that's where now the declaration of asset is the commission of declaration of asset launching an investigation to see.
The commission on declaration of assets doesn't have jurisdiction on that kind of issue.
No, I'm saying, if I discover that my father, you have declared your asset, I live 10 million monthly,
yes,
and I don't have a source of income, and I'm investigated, shows that the money I take it from my father. So
And
now the
you are not
Commission of-
working.
I'm not working.
Yes.
So the Commission of Declaration Assets now have the right to investigate my father.
Yes, they investigate
That's
your
why-
father.
yes.
That one is true. The father,
Yes.
the source of income, his total source of income,
Yes.
monthly income, yearly income, to able to equate it.
Which is what Marx is saying, that therefore that's why the declaration asset is very important.
Yes, so
That's why
if
he's
they
saying-
see now that the president, for instance, did not declare enough
Yes.
for all of his assets,
Yes.
it's a crime. He will be punished, sanctioned, or in fact, there are a list of punishments that could be meted on that kind of.
because the law does not stop a father from gifting the child.
True.
But when they realize that the gift is more than the declared asset, then there's a problem.
Yes, they can investigate.
Which now is a father that will go in for investigation. How does
They
that
will
money-
investigate the father
Yes.
to see, to evaluate his yearly income, monthly income, and if they see that there is excess, then now it's a crime. Because if you do false declaration, it's supposed to be a crime. You are supposed to declare what you have, everything that you have, even a pin. You are supposed to.
That has been Mark's issue. The second is that he said, I am impressed with the action of Barrister. Please, can we go to the second topic? He said, I'm impressed with the action of Barrister, but I doubt if Mr. Biya will attend the court to respond to this file. But the endeavor of Barrister will push Clement Atangana to work hard again and end up with irreservable.
What he's saying,
The case you have taken against President.
You see, in life, it's better to take action than to sit without action. That at the 1996 Constitution was put in place almost 3 decades today. Article 66, Declaration of Assets and Property. That provision has never been respected. As a lawyer that I am, I care for social justice. My desire is for state institutions and state authorities to respect and implement the law. I, as a lawyer, am a lawyer. I became a lawyer because whatever happens in society, my only focus is that there should be justice. I cannot fold my arms and sit and say because Cameroon is what it is, I will go to court, nothing will happen, and I just fold my arms and sit like that. No. We must take action.
Because posterity will ask, what did you do?
It's very important. There's this American president who asked the question, who said, don't ask what your country
That's done for you.
has done for you, but you should instead ask what you have done for your country. And let me now narrow that question now to Cameroonians. Yes, we know that Cameroon is what it is. Many things are going wrong in this country. We know that there is no particular sector that is really moving well. Everything is not okay.
Okay, Barrister, we're coming back to here. Let's take on this advert.
I am Express Exchange, leader in money transfers within Cameroon for more than 15 years via my international partners MoneyGram, Western Union, Ria Transfer, World Remit, and others. You can send and receive money all over the world. I assist you in all your mobile money transactions and buying of communication credit. You're always welcome to my 300 branches for payment of your ENEO, electricity bills, and your university tuition fees, the payment of school fees, and competitive examination fees for high schools and college via the Campus Money platform. Because your satisfaction is my priority, I assure you on ever-increasing and improved quality service, payments availability of cash for your transactions. Express Exchange, the #1 in quality service in Cameroon.
Hey, welcome back, Barrister. You were explaining something there before.
Like I was saying,
That the laws maybe
we
the
as
way
lawyers,
it
we
is.
know that many things are not going wrong, but let's individually we ask ourselves. Like, ask yourself, televiewer, what have you done to make the country better? Ask yourself that question. Examine yourself, because at the end of the day, it's a collective effort. The president of the republic alone cannot change the country. He needs everybody. He needs all the citizens in the country.
And we cannot also abandon it to those who claim that it belongs to them only.
Well,
We must also try to do our job.
of course, it's
We
important.
cannot just abandon it that, okay, they should just be doing it.
Yes, but it starts from our individual homes. How are you managing your home affairs? How are you relating with your neighbors? is very important. But above all, take action towards a better community. I have filed my case in court. The case will be determined. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm fighting towards a particular goal.
But this is the second time or the third that you have taken cases against Cameroon's government officials. The other one was the organization of the Barr.
Yes, that's
where you sued the Minister of Justice.
That's right. When I took out 2022, October 2022, you know, the Barr exam had not been launched, organized for, I think,
almost
more than 8 years, like that.
8 to 9 years.
I took action. It turned out the way it turned out, but to God be the glory, the next year, the Barr exam was organized. And you see, when it concerns court actions, lawyers fight legally. Lawyers don't take arms, go to the streets. Lawyers are not terrorists.
They're not mob.
As a lawyer, you don't cry. If you see that there is a situation in the country that is not working, you go to court, you file an action, you go to court, you plead your case. And also, there is what we call strategic litigation. You take a case to court to draw attention and to pressure government to do what they're supposed to do. That's the job of strategic litigation, and it's also an instrument of social change, social justice. That's what I'm doing. The authorities must know that Article 66 has been sleeping for too long. It's time to implement Article 66. And I strongly believe that in the nearest future, it will be implemented fully.
Good afternoon. In the studio, Yannick from Limbia. One difficult problem we have in Cameroon, the lawyers don't defend the law. Mr. Ekane was not supposed to die due to manipulation and intimidation, and the lawyers cannot justify how long someone should stay in detention before transferred to any prison. I'm not sure that is the case. Maybe Barrister Lewis can talk on that.
No, the issue is that people cannot say that lawyers don't defend the law. As lawyers, what we do, we represent our client, whether an individual or an organization. We present our facts before the court, present the relevant laws, cite the relevant legal articles and provisions. It's the duty of the judge to uphold the law, not the lawyer. Not the lawyer.
And the state council too, to follow up.
Yes, somehow even the state council has to plead his own case, but the duty lies with the judge to uphold the law. That is why we need exceptional judges in Cameroon. We need judges who will look at white and call it white, and we need judges who will render judgment not based on fear or favor, are not based on influence from hierarchy or from an official who must have called the judge from Yaoundé. No, we need judges in Cameroon who will render judgments based on their conscience and the law as clearly provided by the Constitution.
Okay, let me take on this other. Let me go to the social media. Those who are watching us on Facebook, there have been some reactions on Facebook, and this other right, it says Andy, Amos Andy writing, he says, good morning, Mr. Javis, thanks for the good work. It is crazy that Mr. Atanganji is saying this about the death of Anyang Ekane. A parliamentarian said 50 million was raised in the West region to change the result, and nothing has been done because it concerns CPDM. This is sad and people are being killed. God help us. That is Andy writing there. This other right, he says, and why Cameroon is not in the International Criminal Court of Justice. That person is this one right. He says, good afternoon, Barrister. Thank you very much for your education. I've learned a lot as far as the declaration of asset is concerned and the rule of law of Cameroon. My only appeal is that lawyers should join you in your suit and make sure that this is heard, because we Cameroonians need to start fighting against corruption. These people don't want to declare their asset because they know that if they declare their asset, they will not be living the lavish lives that they are living. and it will bring back money to our economy. They will never do that until we have a different regime. Under the same regime, we will just be monitoring and monitoring. This one says, Barrister Lewis, thank you. My question is, are you sure that the lawsuit that you have filed against President Paul Biya will be recevable and fondé? We are used to irrecevable, non-fondé.
So, you see, in relation to that last question, I have done my own part. Once the case goes to court, it's for the judge to determine. I have done my own part.
Now, what do you expect? What is the expected outcome? Can we? I have not still seen the topic again on the screen. What is the expected outcome of this suit?
No, you see, my prayers is for the court to order the President of the Republic, through an order of mandamus, for him to proceed immediately without delay and implement Article 66 of the Constitution and to convene the higher judicial council. I filed the lawsuit before the Fako High Court in Biya, and let me use this opportunity to mention the fact that when it concerns an order of mandamus, the Fako High Court has the jurisdiction and has the competence, the power to issue an order of mandamus based on the provision of Section 18 sub 2 sub C of the 2011 Judicial Organization Law, and also relying on the Southern Cameroon's High Court law. It will interest fellow Cameroonians to know that the Southern Cameroon's High Court law, by virtue of its Section 11, empowers the High Court judge in English Cameroon to import and apply legislation that are in force in England. And that is why you see Part 54 of the 1998 Civil Procedure Rules of England empowers the High Court Judge of England to issue an order of mandamus. So if a High Court Judge in England has that power, automatically it means that the High Court Judge also in English Cameroon
has the power.
Has that power. But that is not the case with the High Court in French Cameroon. People should know the difference. That is not the case. So relying on this provision, I fight my motion, and it's for the court to do the needful. And let's not forget, the law is the law. The Constitution says it very clearly. Magistrates of the bench, judges, shall render decisions, judgments, rulings, relying solely on two things: the law and their conscience. So it's for the judge now of the High Court to pronounce his judgment. But the case is still to come
based on the law or the conscience.
Exactly.
Now,
at the end of the day, we want a better Cameroon.
Okay, so which means that it's also for posterity to also hold that you fought legally and you follow legal channels.
It's a fight for a better Cameroon, for our democracy, for our future generation, for effective administration of state resources, and for good governance.
Some also say that this is also is also advantageous that you fight, because it's going to further expose some of the things about the legal system.
Maybe not. Once there is an action, you cannot determine the various reactions.
Somebody write that, will President Pobia himself attend the hearing?
As per the law, the respondent is supposed to be in court. He will be served. He will be served his hearing notice. He will be served his hearing notice. It's for him to appear or not. All is that he will be served to be appear. Normally, legally, as per court procedures, he is supposed to be there in person. Yes.
Okay. Happy Sunday to you, Mr. Javis. I am Frederick Ngong, writing from Yaoundé. I run a small business here in Yaoundé. I sell blinds and carpet. When I went to pay my tax, they said I need to declare my total capital. Last year, I paid 40,000 for tax. This year, they insist that I need to pay 150,000. When I asked why, they said that's how the new tax system functions. Now, it is rather unfortunate that only the poor are declaring their total net worth, while the top-ranking government officials and others are free from this tax system. That's a major concern for this viewer. Say that he went to pay the tax and they said that he should declare his total tax worth, whereas ministers and officials have not declared their asset.
No, he is not the one to determine. Okay, yes, concerning the declaration of assets. You see, that's the irony. Because when the people, the common man, they see that when they read the Constitution, like if a common man reads Article 66 and sees that it's stating that state authorities are supposed to declare their assets, but they don't see that in reality, it's a problem. And it pushes people not to respect the law. In his case, he doesn't feel like he should pay tax because our state authorities are not declaring their assets.
Yeah, he said he has gone to declare his assets. It's very unfortunate that they asked him to pay 150 and to declare his full assets.
Exactly.
Whereas government ministers and officials are working freely
and
have not declared their assets.
That's the irony, because the law is not for some particular people.
And no one is above the law.
No one is above the law. The law is supposed to apply to everybody irrespective of their social rank, and it's supposed to apply to everybody equally. And in any state of democracy, our state authorities are supposed to be like role models, the pace setters, the people who show example in society. But that's not the case in Cameroon. It's really unfortunate. But however, I'm appealing to the government. It's better late than never. They should proceed and do the right thing, declare their assets. It will send a very clear message that Cameroon, things are changing in Cameroon. And that's what the common man wants to see. And those are the things that politicians should focus on.
And the people will be happy.
People will be happy and even fall in love with their president. Yes. At the end of the day, what Cameroonians desire is good governance.
Irrespective of whoever is there.
Irrespective of whoever is there. Cameroonians want good governance. Tar roads,
Electricity.
Fight against corruption, electricity, water supply, effective waste management system, etc., etc.
How is the situation, before we're almost rounding up, how is the situation of electricity in Biya?
I cannot say it's effective. It's a serious problem because some neighborhoods have not had light for months. You see, it's unheard of, because electricity is like is one of the key elements in any economy, because it's through electricity that the economy can really boom. When there is no light, you see that many businesses will shut down automatically. It means that the revenue of businessmen will increase. It means that the amount that businessmen will pay as monthly taxes will reduce, because they did not do business on particular days. So my only appeal to government is that electricity should be stable. Water supply should be stable. These two things are very important. But the most important of all, tar roads. Because wherever a road passes, development follows automatically.
Good morning, House of Commons. My name is JP. My special greetings to the barrister. I have learned a lot from him today. Okay, JP, thank you very much. This one, right, it says, Roger from Douala says, good day to you all. I like what the lawyer said, but there is no judge that will make an order of mandamus against the government because they are afraid. Unfortunately, one of the most corrupt sector is Ministry of Justice. Roger writing from Douala. The question that barrister has always said, or the rhetoric question that what will history say of you as far as this nation is concerned? Did you take action when you needed to take action, or did you stay quiet when you needed to speak? And that we all must take action in connection or with regard to the principle of the respect of the rule of law, which means no one is above the law and no one is below the law. Let me take on these other messages coming up. It says that, Barrister, thank you very much. My question is that if this mandamus is served to President Paul Biya, and President Paul Biya decides to appoint you as a minister, will you continue to file lawsuit against President Paul Biya, or will you just stay as the others and start singing his praise in Niba?
People should understand one thing, Mr. Javis. It's not like I'm just doing this because I want a ministerial appointment.
Or you want to get the head of state attention?
It's all about our society, our country, the ranking of Cameroon in the Committee of States. How is Cameroon regarded in the international community? And above all, for social justice, good governance. If, for instance, let me say, I'm appointed minister, instead, at that time, it will be different. The level of actions I will file will be different. The level of social developmental issues that I will raise will be more. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for a better society, for there to be justice in the society, for corruption to reduce in Cameroon, for there to be social justice, and for the common man to be able to feel like he belongs also. It's very important. I'm not doing this because I need a favor or I need whatsoever. I'm using my own resources to fight for the country. All of us, for Cameroon, we must participate in order to make Cameroon a great country. I think this is my own contribution, part of my own contribution. I'm a lawyer. A goat eats where it has been tied. If I'm blessed to be a lawyer, I feel like I should take advantage of what God has given me to use it to see how I can contribute in making our country a better place. That's why I'm doing all this. It's for the sake of justice, democracy, good governance. Not for my sake. I'm not doing this for me, but for the community.
Good morning, people of Cameroon. I am the Damien, writing from Campbell, Donga Mountain Division. They say senators are above the law in Cameroon. Is that true?
No. Senators are not above the law in Cameroon. In fact, nobody is above the law in Cameroon. Even the president of the republic, President Paul Biya, is not above the law.
Right.
The law applies to everybody. Yes, the law applies
maybe
to
he's
everybody.
talking about the immunity. Maybe he's talking
yeah,
about...
but senators, they have immunity.
Maybe you more light on what immunity means for a senator.
Senators have immunity when it comes to criminal matters. Like if a senator is suspected of having committed an offense, you cannot just file a criminal complaint against him. The state council cannot issue an arrest warrant against him. He must pass through the Senate for the Senate to lift his immunity and clear him for criminal prosecution. That one is very important. But however, if a senator commits an offense flagrantly, that means red-handed, he can be arrested immediately. People should know the difference. It's very important. But generally, senators have immunity from prosecution. Criminal matters only. But civil matters, if a senator owes you money, you have the right to take him to court. Civil matters. If you have any civil matter with any senator, you can take him to court and seek redress. Okay,
we are almost out of time. Before I take on some of these messages, this one says, Barrister Lewis, God bless you. You have opened my eyes on several issues today. I want to congratulate you because whether or not your suit is granted, one thing is that you have entered into the books of history, that you stood up when many were afraid to even talk. Because as we speak, there are some big lawyers who are quiet because they are eating in the regime. But history will judge all of us for what we did. You have stated your case, and your case is clear. Whether or not they accept it, God be with you. And it will also be used in further regime. If a new regime comes in, that would be a test to show that you spoke when others were afraid. This is Malusi writing from Biya. This one right.
Thank you.
Happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Barrister, if we can have about 7 of you guys, you remind me of the lawyer we once had in Bamenda who was suing people who carry out illegal acts. And I cannot actually remember his name, but what I say is that if you continue like this, we are sure that Cameroon will become a better place. Unfortunately, the justice system seems to be the way it is, but constant filing of this suit exposes them and make the common man to understand that accountability will be held someday. We are seemingly out of time. Barrister, your last word before we go.
After everything is said, I wish to use the opportunity to appeal to the President of the Republic to do the right thing by implementing Article 66 of the Constitution. Like I said it, I respect the President of the Republic. He is our President. Whether we like him or not, we owe him that respect, which I do. His picture is in my office because he's our President. But as a lawyer that I am, I will always do what is right to ensure that the President of the Republic will respect the Constitution. He is the one who signed that Constitution, making it law in Cameroon. How come he hasn't implemented what he signed into law? So my only prayer for President, my only appeal to the President of the Republic is to finally implement Article 66 of the Constitution. I will insist on the fact that it's better to be late than never. It's already late, yes, but he can change the game and proceed to implement Article 66 of the Constitution. And if he does that, Cameroonians will exceptionally fall in love with him, because they will see that their president is finally engaged in the fight against corruption and he's doing the needful. That's my appeal to the President of the Republic. I wish to use this opportunity also to appeal to all the stakeholders working with the President of the Republic. I understand that as the President of the Republic, he has many issues crowding his head. But through his close collaborators, through the people who are working with him daily, they should please advise him, talk to him, put it in his ear constantly, and insist that he should implement Article 66 of the Constitution. And if that is done, it will send a clear message, not only to Cameroonians, but to the international community, that Cameroon is a great nation. That's my prayer.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lewis. Thank you for that prayer. This program will rebroadcast today at exactly 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m. If you want to be a panelist, you want to join our discussion, 676431384 is the number where I'll put you into the group of House of Commons where we discuss issues. Unfortunately, we had invited some of our panelists who had promised to be here. They were not here, but thank you, Barrister, for pulling the program all through to its intended time of broadcast. If you want to market your product on the House of Commons, you can also contact us. We'll let you know what you can do in terms of marketing your product in the course of our program, where you had your advert that can be placed in the course of our program. Contact me on the number you see on your screen, and no matter which kind of business you are doing, you may also be given a rate based on the nature of your business. I want to thank you, Elvis, for this production. I want to also thank you, Noel Tamanjong, for the broadcast. I want to wish you a special happy Sunday to you, Nyam Robert, your wife Joan in the United States of America, and Abo Charles in Canada. Happy Sunday to you guys. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. What should matter for you is that you should stay out of trouble. My name is Tah Mai Javis, Cameroon's commercial capital. Fengu Jombange. Until we meet again, stay out of trouble. Bye bye.
I am Express Exchange, leader in money transfers within Cameroon for more than 15 years via my international partners MoneyGram, Western Union, Ria Transfer, World Remit, and others. You can send and receive money all over the world. I assist you in all your mobile money transactions and buying of communication credit. You're always welcome to my 300 branches for payment of your ENEO, electricity bills, and your university tuition fees, the payment of school fees, and competitive examination fees for high schools and college via the Campus Money platform. Because your satisfaction is my priority, I assure you on ever-increasing and improved quality service, payments, availability of cash for your transactions. Express Exchange, the #1 in quality service in Cameroon.